A war breaks out thousands of kilometers away, and somehow, your chai gets more expensive. Not because of supply chains, not because of farmers, but because of a currency you don't control. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When tensions rise between the US and Iran, the US dollar doesn't weaken. It gets stronger. And the Indian rupee? It quietly bleeds. Right now, whenever headlines mention conflict in the Middle East, most people think about oil prices. That's obvious. But the real story isn't just oil. It's money. Global money. Because in times of uncertainty, the world doesn't look for opportunity. It looks for safety. And for decades, safety has meant one thing: the US dollar. Let's break this down. Imagine you're a global investor, managing billions. War breaks out. Markets get shaky. Oil prices spike. Nobody knows what happens next. Do you keep your money in emerging markets like India? Or do you move it to the one place that has always survived crises, the United States? So money starts flowing out of countries like India, into US assets, US bonds, US banks, the US dollar. This is called a flight to safety. And every time it happens, the demand for dollars rises. More demand, higher value. Now flip the story. When investors pull money out of India, they're not just clicking sell. They're converting rupees back into dollars. That increases the supply of rupees in the market. More supply, lower value. So while the dollar strengthens, the rupee weakens. Not because India suddenly became weaker overnight, but because global money moved. But here's where it gets even more brutal. India imports over 80% of its oil, and oil is priced in dollars. So now you have a double hit. First, oil prices rise because of war. Second, the rupee weakens against the dollar, which means India pays more, twice. Same oil, same barrel, but now it costs significantly more in rupees. And that cost doesn't stay hidden. It shows up everywhere. Petrol prices go up. Transport becomes expensive. Food prices rise. Inflation creeps in quietly. And then all at once, what started as a geopolitical conflict becomes a local economic problem. There's an irony here. The US isn't directly winning the war economically in a traditional sense, but its currency benefits simply because the world trusts it more in chaos. The more unstable the world becomes, the more stable the dollar looks. It's not about strength, it's about perception. Now contrast this with the popular narrative. Most people think war is bad for everyone. That's only half true. War is bad for growth, bad for stability, bad for lives. But financially, it redistributes power toward the safest system in the room. And right now, that system still runs on the US dollar. So where does that leave India? The Reserve Bank can step in, use foreign reserves, stabilize the rupee temporarily, but it can't control global fear. It can't stop investors from running towards safety, and it definitely can't change the fact that oil is traded in dollars. Which brings us to the bigger question. If every global crisis keeps making the dollar stronger and emerging currencies weaker, then is this just a temporary cycle? Or is it a system that quietly reinforces itself every time the world breaks down? Because if the answer is the second one, then the real impact of a US-Iran conflict isn't just war. It's who controls money when everything else feels uncertain. I'll see you in the next one.